Hello, cinephiles. Dr. M. Shroom here for another review. This is episode 5 of the reviews. Put your lab coats on for this one. I've got a mini series coming to you, so take your cinephile hat off and put your telephile hat on. This one is called Lessons in Chemistry. Honestly, I didn't want to watch this show. I didn't know anything about it. I wanted to watch something else. My girlfriend turned me on to this show, and she said she wanted to watch this. I wanted to watch something else, and so we compromised, and we watched Lessons in Chemistry. I'm so glad that I watched it, because it was incredible. Just watch this first scene, and then we'll get into it.
We put our heads together, came up with every woman's dream kitchen. Well, what do you think?
This is revolting.
Okay, like I said, this is a mini-series. I honestly like a lot of television. It's not just movies I watch. To me, it just gives it more time for character development. And you're not trying to rush through a character to get to know a character before you get into the plot, which a lot of movies struggle with. That's why I honestly like longer movies. 3 hours is about perfect if I'm not having to read subtitles the whole time, because I watch a lot of Bollywood movies now. But Lessons in Chemistry is set in the 1950s, based around a woman named, a chemist named Elizabeth Zott, who's played by Brie Larson. Does a phenomenal job. She has a dream of being a scientist, but is challenged by a society that says women belong in the domestic sphere. She accepts a job on a TV cooking show and sets out just to teach a nation full of housewives more than just recipes. She goes into, women can do whatever they want. I'm all for women empowerment. There isn't a lot that I can tell you about the show without giving away a lot of the spoilers. Brie Larson plays Elizabeth Zott, and Calvin, her love interest and eventual boyfriend, is played by Lewis Pullman. They both do a great job. The directing in this is top-notch, honestly. I wouldn't give it a 10 out of 10. It does have some flaws. I feel like it's a little too polished sometimes.
Fucking smile.
I will not.
Well, I think what Elizabeth is trying to say...
He knows what I'm saying because I'm saying it.
Let me explain something to you.
Men are always trying to explain, and women are expected to sit and listen. I do not want this job, but I need the money, and I will work harder than anyone to make this a show that I am proud of. But you want a show that perpetuates a myth that women are imbeciles, and the biggest decision of their day is what color they're going to paint their nails. I will not do that, and there is no amount of menace that will change my mind.
A man wants his wife to make him a drink after a long day at work. So make the fucking drink.
Why do you assume that his day was longer than hers? Why don't you make the fucking drink?
A good part of this show, like the first half, I would say, takes place in a lab where Calvin and Elizabeth are researching abiogenesis, which is like the beginning of life. Like I said, it's a little too polished. There's not enough chaos in the lab for me. Like there's a lot of scenes where you're waiting for a beaker to explode and something to happen, and that doesn't really happen. It's a laudable theory that they talk about. It's very interesting, but it just needs a little bit more for you to really want to pay attention. But the directing really had this like a controlled chemical reaction. The directing was deliberate and sharp. This show is based on a novel by Bonnie Garmus. I have not read the novel. Go ahead and read it if you want to, but I think the show does a really good job of taking you all the way through it, because it is an 8-episode miniseries. I gave this directing an 8.2 out of 10. Like I said, it was a little too polished, but it was still brilliantly done. Here, watch this scene that kind of gives you an idea.
May I join you?
You may.
I have met someone so unexpected. that her happiness supersedes my former life's pursuits. I want to give her everything, be everything for her.
The writing in this was really sharp. It tends to make some characters go into speech mode where it seems kind of clinical. Elizabeth Zott and Calvin, both very socially awkward. But some of the other characters, like the supporting cast, they're the ones who bring warmth to the show. But the dialogue does seem to be kind of clinical sometimes. It's very sharp, very witty. It's subtle humor in it. It's honestly an emotional roller coaster. It'll take you all over the place, from laughing at one scene to being confused sometimes, and then it brings it together with you in tears, honestly. The dialogue doesn't really punch you in the gut a lot, but the cinematography mixed with it definitely brings home the emotional aspect of this show. I actually describe the writing as a brilliant brain that's occasionally missing a heartbeat. Cast in this was perfect. I feel like Brie Larson for so long has been trying to be taken seriously. She's trying to break out of the teenage girl roles that she has played before. And I feel like this finally clinched it for her, where she can play a serious role, a funny role, and she can really do pretty much anything. But she nailed this. She carried the whole show on her back. There's other characters and other storylines going on, but hers is the main storyline. And without her, I don't think there's anybody else you could cast to play such a perfect chemist who is socially awkward, but has a heart, and she doesn't want you to necessarily like her, but she challenges you to understand her, which is brilliant on her part. Lewis Pullman plays like her love interest as Calvin, and Calvin is a brilliant chemist who is world-renowned, but he kind of comes off as an ass most of the time. I think Elizabeth is actually like the only girl that he's ever actually really been interested in because of her brain, honestly. And if you want to see someone that's really socially awkward, it's him. He does not know how to act around society, especially women.
You're not dressed. Well, in some cultures, I would be considered overdressed.
The cast as a whole, I give them a 9 out of 10. It was a great cast. I loved watching them both interact together, especially in the lab. As you've been watching me, you probably know that I have a big thing about cinematography. If the cinematography isn't on point, to me, the movie just, it lacks so much, and the cinematography in this was brilliant. Every frame looked like it came out of a magazine. It was in the 50s era. All the decor in the houses and everything was great. The close-up shots, they make you a little bit uncomfortable because they just linger just long enough to make you uncomfortable, and that's exactly how you need to feel in the show. The content is very, it's kind of a heavy content in most parts of it. Between the soft pastels and the warm lighting, it makes even sadness look expensive, and you're watching a woman go through an emotional hell. The only shroom gripe that I have is that the picture perfectness of all of the cinematography and the backgrounds and everything like that, and some of the slow shots, it clashes with the subject matter in a way that makes it look like you're watching an emotional breakdown in a luxury ad. And that was the only thing I really didn't like. Honestly, the cinematography, 9.3 out of 10. I've added a couple scenes here so you can see the cinematography in action and just kind of know what I'm talking about.
Today, we will be making a fan favorite, lasagna, but we will be testing a new variable. Caring for loved ones takes work. Anyone who tells you differently does not cook dinner for a family of 5 every night. So let's make something hearty. Let's make something delicious. Let's make something that keeps our family alive and gives us leftovers for a week. Let's get started, shall we?
Sweetheart, I could use another cup of joe when you're done with that.
It'll be a few minutes. You could go to the cafeteria.
But it's not your special beaker brew.
Zot,
Yes, Dr. Powers.
I've run it 3 times. What am I missing?
You forgot the acid catalyst.
I'm going to end this with a final score of 8.6. I enjoyed this like every episode. It's only 8 episodes. They're an hour apiece. Easy to get through. A beautiful watch. There's a lot of pieces that hit you right in the gut and in the heart. And it was gorgeous writing, great directing. I'm glad she pushed me to watch this, and I really got hooked in. About 2 episodes in, I was hooked. There's a lot of plot twists. Pay attention. Like I said, I can't really tell you a whole lot about it because there's so many plot twists that I will give away something, and I would hate to do that and ruin it for you. So with that, I'm Dr. Shroom. I'm out. Hey guys, Dr. M. Shroom here. If you enjoyed this review, if you just give me a like and follow, I'd appreciate that. If you go on TikTok, I'm on there. On Instagram, I'm also on YouTube, even though YouTube kind of gives me some trouble sometimes. You can subscribe on there if you want to, but honestly, on Instagram and TikTok, that's where I like it. I appreciate you guys.